Thank you for joining us tonight. You're now with me, Shao Shaminato, for TVS Nightline. We begin with the headlines tonight. The Sarawak government has agreed to implement phased transitions of the National Recovery Plan based on threshold value indicators that were set earlier. Deputy Chief Minister Dr. Ahmad Douglas Uga Embas said the decision was made after reviewing in details the effects of the Movement Control Order, while also taking into account the views of various parties as well as the lamentations of the people.
Pelan pemulihan negara merupakan satu strategi peralihan keluar secara berfasa dari kemulut pandemik COVID-19. PPN ini membuat isyarat yang jelas apa yang telah dirancang dan akan dilaksanakan oleh kerajaan untuk membawa Sarawak keluar dari kemulut pandemik ini.
Uga, who is also Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee chairman, said the plan is formulated based on data and science, comprising 4 phases. The phased transitions depend on 3 key threshold value indicators, which include the COVID-19 situation within the community, based on the number of daily cases, rate of bed occupancy in intensive care units, and the percentage of Sarawak's population who have completed 2 vaccine doses. Uga said SDMC Sarawak is still reviewing and fine-tuning the threshold values or benchmark for the 3 indicators to enable divisions in Sarawak to transition from one phase to the next phase. The results of the research will be announced in the near future. And now on to the next update. A naked man who is believed to be drunk was nabbed by the police after he attempted to run over a roadblock using a motorcycle. According to the Padawan District Deputy Police Chief DSP Lim Jo Siong, the incident occurred at about 9:38 a.m. in Batu Kawah.
Sewaktu kejadian, terdapat 2 anggota polis dan 3 anggota rela sedang membuat penugasan di sekatan jalan raya tersebut. Sewaktu mereka sedang memeriksa kenderaan yang melalui sekatan jalan raya, tiba-tiba datang sebuah motosikal yang dinaiki oleh suspek dalam keadaan bogel. Suspek cuba melanggar anggota keselamatan yang bertugas di situ, menyebabkan anggota polis yang bertugas terpaksa bertindak menendang tayar hadapan motosikal.
Initially, officers tried to stop him at a roadblock, but the suspect paid no attention. Lim added the suspect was detained to facilitate investigations under Section 186 of the Penal Code for obstructing civil servants from performing their duty. He was then sent to the Sarawak General Hospital via ambulance for treatment. When the incident was reported to the suspect's family, they informed the authority that he is suffering from a form mental illness. And police has remanded the main suspect involved in the murder of an Indonesian national at a palm plantation in Sabau, Bintulu. Bintulu District Police Chief Superintendent Zulkifli Suhaili, when contacted, said the suspect, also of Indonesian origin, murdered the victim over 150 ringgit debt. 150 ringgit, what started out as a small sum, turned out to be the heaviest price to pay.
Hasil daripada siasatan awal kita mendapati punca kejadian antara suspek dan mangsa adalah disebabkan hutang.
What happened was the victim was entrusted by another friend to purchase motorcycle spare parts using the suspect's money, but the parts never reached the suspect. Police successfully solved the case with the arrest of the main suspect, along with the seizure of a knife, shirt, short pants, and a motorcycle belonging to the suspect. On the night of July 6th, an argument broke out between the suspect and the victim, which led to the victim smashing the window of the suspect's house, which in turn enraged the suspect and drove him to stab the victim. The suspect, along with 8 other suspects, are now under police remand until the 21st of July 2021 to complete the investigation. The case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code and Section 6(1)(c) of the Immigration Act 1959/63, as all 9 suspects did not have valid documents to reside in the state. And now a new development on the story of the man who impersonated a doctor at the Stadium Perpaduan Vaccination Centre. Sarawak State Health Department JKNS Director Dr. Mohammed Sapian Mohammed said the man was never assigned to a duty throughout his disguise period.
In a statement today, Dr. Sapian said the 20-year-old suspect only appeared once in a while at the PPV since June 16. An internal investigation conducted by JKNS has found that the individual disguised as Dr. Shah informed that he only came to help if there was a slot, but never reported for official duty. Dr. Sapian explained that no assignment was given to him, who was always seen in the registration room. He added that every station chief will ensure that all staff fill in the check-in, check-out process daily and that all vaccinators on duty will be required to have an annual practice certificate before being allowed to give injections. Dr. Sapian said further investigations at the Sarawak General Hospital found that the department staff pass and name used by Dr. Shah were forged. Following this case, JKNS immediately issued improvement instructions to the management of Stadium Perpaduan Vaccination Centre and Sarawak General Hospital to prevent a repeat of the same incident. The instructions involving issuance of officer pass at the PPV for every officer, strict enforcement by the station chief in ensuring attendance registration, and all medical practitioners on duty must be able to provide annual practicing certificate at any time.
And a syndicate was operating at an upscale residential area along Jalan Studong in Kuching to run an illegal gambling racket, which raked up to 60,000 ringgit monthly. The syndicate folded after the police busted its operations and arrested 5 local men during an operation dubbed Ops Dadu Khas at about 12:45 p.m. on Thursday.
Initial investigations revealed that the suspects aged between 17 to 25 were using the premises as a call center to promote illegal gambling and betting wagers for the 2020 UEFA European Football Championships that began in June. Kuching District Police Chief ACP Asman Baja said police seized a computer set, a smart tablet, and 6 mobile phones believed to be used for the illicit activities. The case will be investigated under Section 6(3) of the 1953 Betting Act and Section 4(1) of the 1953 Common Gaming Houses Act. He noted that police have also cut off the power supply at the premises raided, apart from the Prevention of Crime Act 1959.
And now on to the next news. After an intense search and rescue operation, rescuers found a missing octogenarian safe and sound at the Grand Old Lady in Canada Hill. When found, the 87-year-old was barefoot and emaciated, but still able to walk.
According to the victim's family, he left the house at 3 p.m. with no known intentions and was reported missing at about 7:45 p.m. prompting firefighters along with the victim's son to search for the missing person the same night, but to no avail. On the second day of the search operation, which started at 6:48 a.m. today, rescuers successfully located the victim at Route 1 of the hill, ending his 19 hours ordeal and brought him back to his residence, which was 10 minutes away. The operation was called off at 10:05 a.m.
And now another tragedy. 2 out of 3 houses in Sungai Menok Bakong, Miri were completely razed in a fire. Miri Zone Fire and Rescue Department Chief Loh Pok Yong said his forces received a report on the incident at around 1 in the morning. 8 personnel from the Lopang Fire and Rescue Department, led by Bomba Senior Officer Zainal Ali, rushed to the location around 100 kilometers from the station, which took around 2 hours to reach.
Semasa ketibaan pasukan bomba di lokasi, mendapati kedua-dua bangunan telah musnah sama sekali dan hampir melibatkan pondok yang ketiga. Dan kedua-dua rumah berkenaan adalah kepunyaan adik-beradik lah. Itu Puan Tinjan dan Encik Rinjit.
Fortunately, the fire did not result in the loss of life. After both fire extinguishing operations and information gathering works were done, the operation was ended at 3:50 a.m.
Untuk kecederaan dan kemalangan jiwa tiada, sebab keluarga ni rumah pertama itu 2 orang, rumah kedua 10 orang penghuni. Kedua-dua keluarga ni kalau malam mereka menginap di rumah panjang, siang saja mereka berada di rumah berkenaan lah.
Hello everyone, I'm Iki. Guess what? Rhythm of Borneo will be back for its brand new season. So be sure to check out new episodes of Rhythm of Borneo every Saturday, 3 p.m. only on TVS channel 122 Astro as well as MyTV. See you guys there.
我可以跟在你身后，像影子追着光梦游。我可以等在这路口，不管你会不会经过。
7月12号星期一早上9点30分，我是华校生有东马歌后田玉慈的华校故事 Astro 频道122以及 MyTV 尽在 TVS。
Under the great blue sky over Hornbill's land grows Sarawak's treasure, pepper. Its reputation precedes itself and is used by millions all over the world. However, very few understand the challenges faced by pepper farmers. Episode 3: Adversity.
Don't know what to do next.
失败了，失败了。
Can this be safe?
让他冷静一下。
Malaysian style.
No, Malaysian style, huh?
Peter, you shouldn't use the
Same food.
That's correct. That's good.
问你要多少人的 other contestants say?
比我做铁花更难。猫山王，我也希望他赢了。
Back to the Nightline with the COVID-19 development. Sarawak has seen an increase in new positive cases with a total of 406 cases compared to 281 cases on Thursday. 108 out of the total 406 new cases in the state were from an immigration detention depot, prison and immigration-related arrests in Kuching district. Out of the 108 cases, 34 were from the Batu Lintang Immigration Detention Depot in Sri Aman and 56 from Miri Central Prison inmates, while the rest were immigration-related arrests. 3 deaths were also reported today involving an 86-year-old man in Cebu and 2 cases in Kapit Hospital involving a 70-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. However, the average death toll due to COVID-19 has decreased to 2 cases a day compared to June, which recorded 4 cases in a day. Meanwhile, 4 new clusters were recorded, namely the Jalan Pasar Basar Muka cluster in Muka, Benteng Sri Aman cluster in Sri Aman, Tembok Sri Aman cluster in Sri Aman and Tembok Miri cluster in Miri. On the other hand, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, plans to commence the COVID-19 free destination project in Kuching besides Langkawi. MOTAC Minister Dato Sri Nancy Shukri says that the project aims to heal the country's travel industry. The decision to choose Kuching is in line with the efforts to establish the city of Kuching as a UNESCO and ASEAN creative city.
Masing. So for Sarawak, kita tidak menggunakan tempat tertentu, tetapi Kuching, because Kuching telah participate in the creative arts network yang lebih kepada gastronomy yang sudah masuk untuk mereka participate di UNESCO punya program itu, which we already submitted, dan kita mahu supaya Kuching ini cepat kita jadikan tempat yang boleh dikatakan COVID-19 free destination.
Besides Kuching and Langkawi, the ministry is also considering other travel destinations as well as receiving feedback from all state governments. She says the opening of other destinations depends on the safety at the destinations and the cooperation of the state governments. And meanwhile, the Batang Sadong Parliamentary Office is strategizing a recovery plan to ensure the longevity of the people's source of income. Batang Sadong Member of Parliament Datuk Seri Nancy Shukri said the recovery plan will also ensure better coordination when channeling assistance via Batang Sadong Service Centre or government agencies.
Dan ini bukan daripada parlimen saja. Kami bersama ADUN bekerjasama. Bagi saya ada 3 kawasan, jadi saya bekerjasama dengan 3 DUN saya. Dan kami terpaksa menyusun atur secara teliti supaya setiap rumah itu dapat memanfaatkan peruntukan daripada kerajaan negeri dan juga kerajaan pusat.
Earlier on, Datuk Nancy also presented a food aid worth 20,000 from the Yayasan Dakwah Islamia Malaysia for Asnaf and the needy. In regards to the 300,000 ringgit allocation for the food aid assistance under the National Recovery Package Pemulih announced recently, Nancy said it has been implemented and will continue holistically nationwide. In another development, the Royal Malaysian Air Force has flown a patient from the National Heart Institute, IJN, in Kuala Lumpur to the Sarawak Heart Centre to begin his rehabilitation treatment in the isolation ward.
The 62-year-old Sarawakian Jarit Anak Luyang faced heart valve issues, but fortunately he was saved after undergoing a prosthetic heart valve surgery on the 29th of December last year. He was flown into Sarawak on an A400M aircraft, which departed from Subang Air Base at 6:58 a.m. and arrived in Kuching Air Base at 8:40 a.m. this morning. He was accompanied by his wife and 2 medical officers along with a nurse. TUDM organized the flight in order to allow the patient to receive follow-up treatment subject to certain criteria. This shows the commitment and concern of TUDM in carrying out social responsibilities as well as its preparedness in mobilizing assets in dire situations.
And Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob clocked in at the Deputy Prime Minister's office at Perdana Putra in Putrajaya today to start his duty as the number 2 leader in the country's administration. Clad in a blue suit, Ismail Sabri arrived at the Perdana Putra compound at 10 a.m. and was welcomed by the Chief Secretary to the Government, Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, and Senior Deputy Secretary General of the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Jamil Rakon.
Ismail Sabri, 61, was appointed Deputy Prime Minister last Wednesday while retaining the portfolio as Defence Minister. After clocking into his office, which is on level 4, he then signed the welcome book, following which a prayer led by Integrity Officer at the Prime Minister's Department, Muhammad Reza Ahmad, was held. He then attended a National Security Council NSC emergency session meeting, which was held virtually with Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. And through his Facebook page, Ismail Sabri expressed his gratitude for the appointment and regarded it as a bigger trust given to him. Ismail Sabri, who is also the Burra Member of Parliament and UMNO Vice President, has vast experience in politics and government administration, having held several ministerial positions before, including as Minister of Youth and Sports, Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, and Minister of Rural and Regional Development.
And now on to the next highlight. The Digital Negara Jendela map is now readily accessible via a new website called Jendela Portal under the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission's MCMC website. Chairman Dr. Fadlullah Suhaimi Abdul Malik said that in general, Jendela Map has three main functionalities, which include coverage map, users' feedback, and feedback status. To check telco coverage in any given area, he said, users just need to pinpoint the location and then choose the network type and telco. He said this during a briefing on MCMC third quarterly report detailing the latest development and progress of the National Digital Infrastructure Plan, Jalinan Digital Negara Jendela Plan today. For fixed and wireless broadband service, he said users have to use the feedback submission feature instead, which will list all the available services at the said location before they can begin the submission process. Meanwhile, he said a total of 342,424 premises had been covered with broadband through the implementation of Jendela as at June 30.
La la la. Happy, memang happy loh. Boy tu kak? Boy tu. Hei, aboy bukan belajar itu apa itu binatang dan animal. I see head lapis meletup. Boom, boom, boom.
Ayah, su artinya. Nevin. Nevin.
Cikgu Lalik yang tak jadi buat ya.
Oh, ada gas.
Yang penting gas ya.
Oh, yang penting gas.
Macak gas ya.
Cik, Abi kenal lah. Aku mau viral ni.
Apa kau mau viral?
Siapa masuk buat dispek?
Apa bang ada di pek?
Ai, show kan TVS ya. Setiap Isnin sampai Ahad. 2 suku petang.
Tahu kan? 122.
Tahu pun. Tahu pun tanya aku.
From our stores, halal, remain halal also to the table.
Empowering women through weaving. With the Penang Women Project is 100%.
Yeah, pharmacy actually is very accessible.
For more brand insights from business leaders, you brand your product as Sarawak 3-layer milk tea.
If one day go listed,
What type of technology, the latest technology that you brought? Hello and welcome to Brand Pulse with me, Mariana, as your host for yet another exciting episode.
Rocking your weekend with a wide selection of music videos. From your favorite local artists to the fiercely indies, we've got you covered. Weekend Vibes new season every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. only on TVS channel 122.
Thank you for staying with me. And now on to our sports development. The impending Tokyo Olympics will see a total of 30 athletes competing in various sports disciplines. 4 among the 30 athletes will be making their debut, and according to the Minister of Youth and Sports, it is not impossible for them to be victorious. History has proven that many of those making their debut at the Olympic Games scored a medal. Dato Sri Rizal American Naina American said, from the 11 medals won in 17 Olympics appearances by the national team, 4 of these were contributed by young athletes. The 4 young athletes who will be making their debut are Lee Zi Chia and Aaron Chia Soh Woo Yi, both competing in badminton, Farah Ann Abdul Hadi for gymnastics, and Mohammad Shafi Daus Sahrom for cycling. He also noted that only 4 team managers from aquatics, badminton, athletics, and golf will be flying to Tokyo, while the others will be managed by their respective coaches there. And now on to our world affairs. Recently, Japan experienced a spike in numbers of COVID-19 infections, its highest recorded last Wednesday with 920 cases. Because of this, Japan has recently announced to put its capital, Tokyo, under the fourth state of emergency effective from Monday until 22nd August.
According to Japan's Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga, such measure is needed to prevent a nationwide outbreak and to consider the threat posed by stronger variants of the virus. The quasi-state of emergency will not apply to entire prefectures, but only at high-risk prefectures such as Chiba, Saitama, Kanagawa, and Osaka. Restrictions in other prefectures such as Hokkaido, Aichi, Kyoto, Hyogo, and Fukuoka will expire on Sunday as planned. As the Olympics will take place in Tokyo later this month, authorities are considering a no-spectator policy during the Games.
コロナの中での安心安全な大会の実現、まさに人類が困難に直面する中にあって、今だからこそ世界が一つになれる力を合わせて、この難局を乗り越えている。こうしたことをやはり世界に発信をするいい機会だというふうに思います。
In regards to the incoming international athletes, Suga said they will have to follow procedures as set by the Japanese authority.
入国後も選手は毎日検査を行っており、ウイルスの国内への流入を徹底して防いでまいります。選手や大会関係者の多くはワクチン接種を済ましており、行動は指定されたホテルと事前に提出された外出先に限定をされ、一般の国民の皆さんと接触することがないように管理されます。
And remnants of tropical storm Elsa have flooded New York City and threatens to pummel the state, along with New Jersey and Connecticut.
Social media posts showed cars sitting in floodwaters that came to the tops of the tires and people attempting to walk in knee-deep water. Eyewitness Stephen Smith says that the flooding came suddenly, but cars continued to go through the intersection despite the water being up to their headlights. Flash flood warnings were in effect in parts of New York City as well as the nearby Nassau County of the New York State, reports NBC.
And Pfizer Inc. plans to ask U.S. regulators to authorize a booster dose of its COVID-19 vaccine within the next month, based on evidence of greater risk of reinfection 6 months after inoculation and the spread of the highly contagious Delta variant. Pfizer Chief Scientific Officer Michael Dalston said the recently reported dip in the vaccine's effectiveness in Israel was mostly due to the infections in people who had been vaccinated in January or February. The country's health ministry said vaccine effectiveness in preventing both infection and symptomatic disease fell to 64% in June. Pfizer's own data from the United States showed an erosion of the vaccine efficacy to the mid-80s after 6 months against the variants that were circulating there in the spring. He stressed that data from Israel and Britain suggests that even with waning antibody levels, the vaccine remains around 95% effective against severe disease. Early data from the company's own study shows that a third booster dose generates antibody levels that are 5 to 10-fold higher than after the second dose, suggesting that the third dose will offer promising protection. Pfizer has previously said people will likely need a booster dose, but some scientists have questioned when or whether they will be needed. And tonight on Innovation, a South Korean environmental engineer has developed a toilet that gives back. The VV toilet is a toilet that pays you to use it and uses your donation for the environment.
비비 화장실에서 보내진 똥은 먼저 지하에 저장이 됩니다. 그다음에 지하에 저장된 똥은 펌프를 통해서 미생물 소화조로 오게 되는데요. 미생물 소화조에서는 메탄가스가 만들어집니다. 메탄가스가 만들어지고도 남은 똥은 여기에 저장되었다가 퇴비가 만들어지게 됩니다. 그리고 이제 그 만들어진 메탄가스는 일단 저장조에 저장이 되는데요. 이 저장된 메탄가스는 부엌과 욕실에서 활용이 됩니다. 그 이후에 남은 메탄가스는 연료전지에 보내져서 발전과 충전이 돼서 발집에서 활용됩니다.
The basic income from using the toilet is 10 guls, which could equate to a cup of coffee.
지금 보시는 것처럼 제가 대변을 누고 나서 포인트를 받았는데요. 이와 같이 집에서 만약에 대변을 누면 제가 그냥 버리는 쓰레기를 만드는 거지만 여기서 대변을 눈다는 것으로만 해도 저한테 금전적으로 쓸 수 있는 용돈과 더불어 환경을 조금 더 보호할 수 있다는 측면에서 너무 좋은 것 같고요.
And that highlight concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. And as always, thank you for tuning in to your local news tonight. Here with me, Shoshameto, and I'll see you next time. Have a good morning.